This is Come Talk with Aimee, where we don't do lukewarm love or vague ass vibes. Today, we're diving into intentional intimacy, the kind that's chosen, not chased. This episode is a wake-up call for anybody out there handing out emotional backstage passes to people who haven't even earned a general admission ticket. We're talking clarity, boundaries, desire, and why messy, muddled connection is out and bold, conscious intimacy is in. Yes. So, if you've ever felt drained, confused, or like you're craving something deeper, stay with me. Let's talk about turning the volume up on your standards and your pleasure. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Come Talk with Aimee. We're so excited. Happy Pride Month. Yay. Yes, we're here for it. I'm so excited to introduce you to today's guest, Dakota Ramppen. Dakota is the founder of Get Real with Dakota. She is a spicy sexuality educator, tough love relationship coach, massage candle maker. Yes, we love her massage candles, and sex toy seller based in New Jersey. Dakota's work focuses on normalizing taboo topics with the help of tough love. Yes, her all love bullshit approach makes manifesting and maintaining your hashtag relationship goals a breeze, whether that's exploring a new kink, healing relationship trauma, developing more self-confidence, or becoming a hashtag happy, healthy hoe. Welcome, Dakota.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk with you, to have our listeners hear from you, and all of the goodness that is Dakota and the happy, healthy hoe.
Yeah, we're going to definitely get into that today.
Yes. Dakota, tell our listeners a little bit more about you.
I actually started out teaching sexuality education in 2017. I'm 2 years away from hitting my 10-year mark, which is crazy.
Amazing.
I pretty much just went around the city of Newark with sex toys and arts and crafts and was doing workshops. And I worked in a school teaching sex ed to middle school students. I developed a curriculum for them. Then I eventually quit that job because I just couldn't operate within the education system. I could be bad all by myself. So I'm going to start my own business. I've been running Get Real with Dakota for a little over 2 years now. And I do a lot of different things. I do consulting, I do coaching, whether it's for singles or couples. Workshops are my favorite thing to do. I love doing workshops. I host events. I make massage candles. I sell sex toys. I'm a writer for Pornhub sexual wellness centers. When people tell you you have to do one thing, they're lying to you.
Love that. All the things. All the
Yes.
things. Tell me about these arts and crafts.
We would literally just have a bag of glitter glue and markers and craft paper. And we would sometimes have our participants draw anatomy to just see how we view those things, how we relate to them. We would do vulva projects. We draw penises. It's a good time.
Yes. All of the things. That's so amazing. Love the arts and crafts. I want to visualize this, bring that back to a workshop. So today we're going to be talking about intentional intimacy. Tell us all about what is intentional intimacy and why do we need to know about it?
Intentional intimacy is really where I derived happy, healthy hoe from. I actually came up with the concept of happy, healthy hoe in 2020. In practice, it is an intentional intimacy, which means that you are being intentional about the intimacy that you are having or not having. Whether that's being intentional about the types of play that you're engaging in. Maybe you're doing certain things with certain people. Maybe you're doing certain things under certain dynamics. So for example, I'm not eating someone's ass unless we're in a relationship. That's something that I know. If I'm dating that person in a relationship, I will gladly eat the ass, put the finger in there. But if we're just friends with benefits, that's not something that I feel comfortable doing in that kind of dynamic, because that's something that's really intimate for me. So being intentional about what that looks like. And why it's so important for people and why we need it is because I do think it's important to think about why you're doing the things that you're doing. And I arrived to intentional intimacy after making the decision to be celibate, actually, which is like, girl, what? I had gone through a separation. My divorce is not finalized. I got separated in August of 2023. At that point, I was like, I want to explore non-monogamy. I hadn't had sex for almost a year at that point. So it had been a year since I had been intimate with anybody. So I was looking for a friends with benefits situation, and the person that I was sleeping with, we eventually got into a relationship as well. That ended. That didn't work out. And when I look back on my initial intention behind celibacy, it wasn't coming from a good place, to be completely honest. I felt tainted. I felt meaned. I felt kind of grossed out with my body and with myself because of things that had happened in my last relationship. And the celibacy was coming from fear. I was afraid to be intimate with someone new. There was a part of me that still felt like my body belonged to him. I genuinely thought this was my person. Looking back on it, there was a lot of evidence that they were not. I realized that doing celibacy out of fear, out of this idea of like trying to cleanse myself and my body because of decisions that somebody else made, didn't sit right with me. I recognize the fact that like I have desires. You know? I don't need to have sex. I would like to have sex. I want to have sex. And I can do that without putting such rigid confines on like you're not gonna fuck anyone for a year. And intentional intimacy felt a lot more aligned with what I really want for myself. Why should I rob myself of pleasure with nice people because somebody was unkind and hurt me? It's really just comes down to discernment and being able to be mindful about what I'm doing, who I'm doing it with, and why I'm doing it, and how, like all the what, the why, the how, the when, etc. That's really where even happy, healthy hood came from. Like the happy part is you're doing things that are in line with your desires, and the healthy part is not being a dick, you know, having conversations, maintaining your sexual health, and you kind of put those things together to be intentional about the intimacy that you're having. I'm not really much of one night stands, which are fine. If people do them, by all means, power to you. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you're being safe and you're communicating and that's what's in line with your desires. I recognizing that there are things I need before I share my body with somebody.
That's where the intentional part comes. Because for somebody, having a one night stand may be very intentional and maybe within the bounds of what they feel like is very mindful for them and healthy for them. I love also just going back, I cannot not call this out that you said the healthy comes from just don't be a dick. Every time I'm going to think about when I see your name, happy, healthy ho, I'm going to be like, just don't be a dick.
So just don't be an asshole, don't be a dick. Communicate. If someone's feelings get hurt due to a rejection because you're being honest, and I had mentioned this at the pleasure lab. Honesty without tact is cruelty. You can be honest with people about your feelings, your needs, your desires if they're misaligned without being a dick. That can come a part of practicing and living in line with sexual practices that feel aligned for you. Part of being healthy is just don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. You heard it here first. Also, can we take a step back? Because I just want to say that I love how you were talking about celibacy and how you were viewing it. The intention behind it was almost as a punishment, right? Can you just dive a little bit more into that? Because I think that, again, going with intentional intimacy, part of being intentionally intimate could be that you are celibate or celibate until XYZ lines up. A lot of what we're talking about this month is going against societal norms or challenging societal norms or questioning them, understanding, bringing curiosity around the societal norms, the societal scripts that we have. And I feel, especially here in the US, we're a very puritanic society. That's so built in that we need to, there's the discipline and that also, and the punishment of ourselves. We can't enjoy pleasure is like, no.
I was so adamant about the celibacy, and I'm in therapy too. As I was talking to my therapist about it and I was listening to myself out loud, I was like, this does not seem like it's coming from a good place. And it also made me think about what are quote unquote good reasons to have sex? What are quote unquote good reasons to be celibate? I've had people be, you said you were going to be celibate for this amount of time, and you're almost dishonoring yourself by breaking this promise, breaking this commitment, not having self-control in this sense. Well, if I'm doing something for a shitty reason, probably need to reassess a bit. It's okay to change your mind. And I think it's really important to not only look at your why, but like dive deep into the why. I was clear on my why. I need to cleanse, I need a reset, I need to sage my coochie. And then a lot of it was almost like a purity culture kind of mindset that I wasn't really brought up in, but I think because I felt violated emotionally and physically in a handful of ways because of my last relationship, I really needed time to come back into my body. I put so much into that relationship and I really felt like I gave that person my all, like everything. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It was just mishandled and I think misused. And it was fear of intimacy because I left that relationship. There's not going to be any man that's going to be happy, not okay, but happy being monogamous with me. There's not going to be a man that's not going to want to fuck other people. I'm not going to be able to find a man that isn't going to always want to fuck other people. And if he can fuck other people, he's going to fuck other people. And if I could just be okay with him fucking other people, then I'm healed and I'm not jealous and I'm evolved and I'm this best version of myself. I like the idea of being taken, like using the word owned for lack of a better term, which I think kind of ties into my kinks. When I'm in a relationship with someone, own me. You don't own me, but you own me. If you could tell me what to do, you could tell me what to do kind of mentality.
Like take over.
Yeah, like I want to surrender completely. So the celibacy can be intentional for people, but look at your why. Why is the why your why?
Yes. And if I can just speak to that, I love that you said dig deep into your why. You were very clear on your why. And then when you were reflecting back to me, I heard a lot of self criticism in that why. A lot of some shame scripts too, right? And you were saying, okay, kind of going into purity culture, even though you didn't grow up with that, in a lot of ways, like our society is like it infiltrates our society, our society and our way of thinking. And you were saying other people were judging you for like stepping away from celibacy or attaching yourself to the promise of celibacy. It's so interesting to me that like people were weighing in on that because it's really nobody else's damn business or their decision. But we all have opinions when it comes to sex and intimacy.
Absolutely. I also think knowing my history, I'm historically a serial monogamous. I've been in relationships since I was like 10. That's my pattern. And now I'm trying to do what my original intention was before I got into my last relationship. I wanted to have friends with benefits. I've always wanted, I would love to find my person. At that point, I wasn't looking for that. And I was like, damn, God, you move fast. I got separated and now this is my person. They just came knocking on my front door. But really, it was a testament to Dakota. Are you going to honor your boundaries? Do you even know what they are and what they look like? And can you trust yourself to walk away when they're crossed? Now, I'm not fiending to fuck, but if it feels aligned, if there's communication, if there's safety, if there's chemistry, then I'm open to it. It's really about being open to it because I think my last relationship turned me off from sex in a lot of ways. I think I went to one end of the extreme where I almost in a way became very sex negative, actually, because we had very different values, practices in terms of how we related to sex. And then thinking back on it, there was a lot of shame. I'm gonna just put this coochie on lock for a year because I need to boom, boom, boom. Well, Dakota, you can also heal in relation to other people. We're oftentimes harmed by other people, so why do we expect all of the healing to happen alone? There needs to be a balance of some sort. As intentional I was about choosing celibacy, I was just as intentional about shifting away from celibacy and opening a door for myself to do what feels right, and because sometimes the things that feel right are not really right for you, and being mindful of where are these things coming from, and if I want to act on it and the other parties consent, then we can.
Yes. And I love that you said that because I was going to point it out. Even your choice for being celibate, that was very intentional. Like you said before, your why was very clear and you brought that curiosity and compassion for yourself and understanding of really going again, digging in deep to what is that why and understanding it for yourself, like so huge. And I love too that you were talking about boundaries really instead of prescribing to a label or fitting into a box of celibate monogamous, non-monogamous. What am I okay with? What is Dakota okay with? What does pleasure look like to me? What does intimacy look like to me? What are my yes, nos, and maybes as far as what are my boundaries? And then allowing yourself to explore and play within that while also upholding and respecting your boundaries and your intuition. So huge. So huge. I love it.
I completely agree. I actually, as we're talking about this, I think this is the first time I've recognized that. So I was married to someone of the same sex. They're non-binary, and then the relationship after that was with a man. When I had gotten separated in August of 2023, I hadn't had sex for almost a year in my marriage. That was celibacy. I was not I was not having sex. And it's because what I've realized is that I can't have sex when I don't feel safe. I can't, if I don't feel safe in my relationship in any way, shape, or form, especially emotionally, I don't have a drive. So that was, I didn't name it celibacy. And I don't even know if I would say at that time it was I'm intentionally being celibate, but I was intentionally not having sex because I did not feel safe. So there was a form of intention there. I didn't have a libido. It was there. But sex was just used very differently in that relationship, and then the one that I'm just getting out of. My last relationship, I felt like that was one of the only ways that I could, like, reach him and connect with him, because sex was really was our point of contention. Sex with other people, sex with that was where we were really hitting a wall in terms of our values. And because of things that happened in the relationship, I ended up feeling like that was the one way I could reach him. And when I couldn't reach him sexually, it took a huge hit at my confidence. Huge hit at my confidence. And I recognized that I can't tie my worth to his desirability. Moving out, it's been months now that I haven't been in that relationship. And I was like, girl, you really that girl. Why are you gonna sit here and act like there's something billion people in the world? Why are you like
Yes, good for you. I know it's so easy to be like, we do. We're like, hey, this is our person, right? And we put all of our energy in it and we want to make it work. Like, but we need to check ourselves. Like, are we forfeiting here? What are the compromises we're making? And what is the impact to us? Is it like impacts on self worth? Is it impacts on community and being able to feeling like we're in community versus feeling isolated or not like second guessing ourselves and not leaning into our intuition, or maybe you're making compromises where the other person is meeting you and you're not losing out on those things. But when there is a change in yourself and your self-worth and how you value yourself, yeah, I don't know if what I'm trying to say, but you get it.
No, I do. I do get it. A lot of times in relationships, we talk about focus on where you're compatible, but I also think your incompatibilities need to be compatible as well. Your shit that you're bringing to the table needs to be compatible, because nobody breaks up because of their compatibilities. You break up because of where you're incompatible. It's important to ask yourself, what is the shit that I am absolutely not willing to deal with? What are the things that I can work through? I know now, lying, hell no. If you can't be honest with yourself, you sure as hell can't be honest with me. That is a hard no for me. But I'm willing to work on somebody that maybe struggles a bit to express their emotions. You know, maybe they shut down, maybe they lean avoidant. That's something that I'm willing to work through. But we really need to assess that. And something that I was thinking of in transitioning from the celibacy to intentional intimacy and being a happy, healthy hoe, I had to ask myself, what kind of dynamic do I want? I know at some point I want to have kids. I know at some point I would like to get married again and let that be the last motherfucking marriage I have, right? But at this point in time, I know that I'm not emotionally ready in a position to dive into emotional intimacy like that with somebody. I do need to have a form of emotional intimacy to be intimate with somebody. A liking. We don't have to get married, but there has to be a baseline liking. So asking yourself, do you want a friends with benefits? Do you want a booty call? Do you want a relationship? What kind of relationship? If you don't know, find opportunities to explore it and figure it out. Maybe you want someone that can pretend to be your girlfriend when you go to family weddings or events so your aunts can stop asking you when you're getting married or some shit. You know what you want, and then you get to build on why. Am I filling a void by trying to be open to intimacy with other people? What does that mean to me? Then, once I know why I want the kind of dynamic that I want, I really need to look at is it serving me, my purpose, right? Because sometimes we want one thing, but it's not the thing that would be best for us. Having that assessment, once you've gone through that, then you start to build out the how. I have a friends with benefits. I know why. I know where it's coming from. I know that this is good for where I'm at right now. What does that look like? How often do we talk? How often do I see you? Having boundaries around my time, conversations around sexual health practices, testing, barriers, fluid bonding. All of these things need to be discussed because they're intimate. That was the formula of if you're looking to live your happy, healthy whole life, if you're looking to be intentionally intimate, you got to kind of run through that reflection for yourself.
Okay, I'm in love with this. I love that you broke it down for us in this way. So huge. Also, in order to be able to communicate your needs, you need to understand them for yourself first. And also in entering a relationship, understanding your why, bringing that curiosity around for yourself. Because I think a lot of times in relationship, it's very easy for people to, I'll do what they want. Okay, this is what they want. They want to try this, they want to try that, but it may not be fully in alignment with what you want. You may think that you're okay with it, but then all of a sudden there's resentment. You were mentioning in your marriage how you went a year without sex, and it was not that you didn't have the libido, but you didn't feel safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was really it. I took another shot at love in my last relationship after the divorce. I poured a lot into that in the process, like losing myself and losing touch with myself. I saw something that was talking about the difference between libido and desire. So libido is your physical desire, drive to have sex. Whereas desire could really be, which sometimes I feel like people just like add definitions to things to make them sound fancy. But the concept behind what they were saying, the desire is the drive to actually act on it. Having that differentiation between, I had a libido at that time, but I didn't have a desire. I didn't have a drive to do anything about it. And then in my last relationship, still very high libido. But it was interesting because in the last relationship, I did not feel safe, but I had a high desire and libido. I think the desire came from trying to feel validated, I think, in some way from that person, which did not feel good. I was definitely filling a void that could never be filled because I was trying to, I'm worthy. If I can love this person so hard, maybe they'll realize that they don't want this thing that they're telling me they want. Maybe they'll realize that I'm fucking great and they'll finally be honest. Maybe, and you can't love people, you can't nice people into being a different person, honestly. So now when I think about what does dating look like for me? How do I communicate if I go on a date with somebody and this is the kind of dynamic I want? And if that doesn't work for them, then that's fine. If I've come to reflect on, I'm sitting with this idea of like next relationship I get into, I kind of want to date the person for minimum 6 months before getting into one. And some people, that's a long time. But number one, I think about the hormones of new relationship, honeymoon phase. Just because you have chemistry doesn't mean you're compatible. And the next relationship I get into, I would ideally like it to be the person that is my person. I'm not riding off of dopamine or the chemistry train. I want to assess compatibility, and it takes time to assess that. You need to see people in different lights.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that I work on with my clients a lot or remind them is that like you've been in the relationship for like 1 month, 2 months, it's new. So you don't need to know if this is your person. You don't need to know if you're going to have kids with them or if you're marriage material. It's understandable that your mind is going there, and you don't have to have those answers right now, right? I think we feel like we need to have that up front, or we go on a first date and could I see myself with this person in 10 years? Enjoy that newness, the honeymoon phase, and also introducing each other to and seeing each other in different situations and scenarios. So love that. I'm wondering too, as we wrap up here, if you can take us on the journey of a self-proclaimed serial monogamist stepping into intentional intimacy and what that journey looks like, being open to new experiences that don't necessarily mean serial monogamy.
I'm a lover girl through and through. I'm a lover girl. As much as I am a happy, healthy hoe, I'm a lover girl. I love love. I love relationships. And with that being said, because I know that I am not ready for a relationship right now and probably won't be tomorrow or the day after that, I'm taking my time. I want to take my time building connections with people and getting to know them. So that means I have to check myself constantly. If I go on a date with somebody, that whole like, is this my husband? I'm here as a friends with benefits, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, wait, but maybe this is my husband. And I'm like, girl, chill the fuck out. I check my anxious attachment. I check myself constantly because I need to keep myself grounded. And I'm extremely honest with people about where I'm at. So I have certain boundaries of things that feel intimate to me. So cuddling with someone that I'm friends with benefits with, I don't cuddle with my friends. So if we're friends with benefits, people are like, girl, that's fucking crazy. But if it feels right, I'm open to some flexibility. We could talk about it. But if it strictly does feel like a sexual relationship with that person, cuddling is very intimate to me. That's not something that I want to do with someone that I don't feel inclined to do it with. So I'm not sitting here like, no, I'm not going to cuddle you. But if I don't feel like I want to do that, I'm not going to do that. Now I'm at the place where I want to take my time. I'm still in the process of getting back into myself, connecting with myself. I'm doing a lot better than I was a few months ago. Shit, you look at my content, I was depressed. I was going through it. But now I'm checking myself. I'm being intentional. I'm being honest, continuing to go to therapy and just going easy on myself. We don't need to fucking do everything right 100% of the time and figure it. I'm figuring it out as I go and I'm trying my best. And that's really all I can do. If I don't ace it this time, that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you can see the progression for yourself. And also, only a few months ago, that's so recent too. I think we want to be able to bring back, but giving yourself compassion. And I love this intentional intimacy. You're being open to, for lack of a better word, challenging yourself or being open to finding new ways or different ways of doing things while honoring your boundaries, while being intentional, while constantly bringing curiosity and digging deep into the why. So huge. I love this for you. I'm so, so excited. Something that helps me is it's not arriving. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey while you're on it instead of searching for that arrival. You're on the train, you're seeing the sights.
Very true. Yeah, it's gonna be a journey indeed. I'm like, girl, you still young, you got time.
Yes.
I want kids. I got time, but
As like somebody that has uterus, I had my daughter at 35, but I remember I came from a purity culture and I was very much, I need to be married by X age. I need to have kids. I felt like I was like behind. And also people are having kids at 50. Right? This is not new, but it's that extra layer for those of us that do have uteruses and different things that we want in our life. I hear that. I hear it. Anything else you want to tell us before we wrap up?
I don't think so. I think for the people listening, we're always learning about ourselves. We're always learning about other people. Just being gentle with yourself, but being real with yourself. As real as you possibly can. We're all just trying our best. And what's that quote? It's do or do not, there is no try. Is that like Yoda or something from Star Wars? But I really feel that if you're challenging yourself, if you're asking yourself the hard questions, if you're practicing hard conversations, if you don't feel comfortable expressing a desire or a boundary with somebody, practice with your friends. Go play and build that muscle memory. So when the high anxiety inducing situation arrives, you have literally in your brain some neural pathways that you've already accessed. And just be gentle with yourself. People are going to have their judgments. As somebody that does this work, I had my judgments. I went through a period of sex negativity because I was so hurt by the actions of the person that I was with. I'm such a sex positive person, but being mindful of what you're doing and why you're doing it and just grounding yourself in that and recognizing also that you can change your mind and that's okay. And you're not a failure. You are not lacking self-control because you've changed your mind and your needs have shifted. That is okay. You're evolving and changing.
Yes, we love ever evolving, ever changing, and we can trip ourselves up. I love that you're be honest with yourself because we're not, we can sometimes try to convince ourselves that I'm not feeling this way or that way about, we'll be like, oh, I want X, Y, and Z for this reason and reality. No, again, it goes back to what you were saying with like dig deep into the why. This has been amazing, Dakota. Before we come to completion, because it's Pride Month, I'm wondering if I can ask you some questions as somebody who is part of the queer community, questions that I'm asking everyone this month.
Sure, that'd be great.
When we get it, rapid fire, what does queer joy look like or mean to you, for you?
Expression, honestly, showing up in the clothes that make you feel good, adorning yourself in a way that makes you feel good, laughing in a way that makes you feel good. Yeah, all of that. Just being able to show up as yourself, priceless.
Yes, that is the epitome of queer joy. You, yes. What advice would you give to someone who's newly stepping into their queerness and joining the queer community?
Community, 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 community. And recognize queer people are people. There are people that are not that great. So go into spaces and build community. Also, have your values and boundaries in place and discernment, because especially when you feel isolated, maybe from your family or your friends or your past, we might latch on to spaces and people that are not good for us and not safe. But community is going to be huge. And I can assure you that your people are out there.
I love that. That is so amazing. Yes. Community, community, community. And again, that intentionality, the boundaries, know you, know yourself. What does being queer mean to you?
Being queer to me, for me, it's expansion, exploration in terms of my sexuality. I think about my queerness. I relate it to my sexuality being pan. I'm just saying, like, I'm for everybody unless I'm not for you.
Love that.
That's
Yeah.
the genitals, the gender, like none of that matters to me. Queerness to me, it just means expansion. There is fluidity in whatever way feels good for you.
I love that. This is amazing. All right. One last question. What can the straight folks learn from the queer folks or queerness?
Pleasure is expansive. Be creative. You don't have to follow the script that you've been given of penis and vagina. We kiss, then we give oral, then we do penetration, then when he comes, it's over. Have fun. Your bedroom is
Yeah.
a playground. When it comes to queer people specifically, there's already this idea of expansion and quote unquote being outside of the norm. That there's like sometimes this inherent creativity, and exploration and play that comes when maybe you have the same parts with someone and you are navigating sex differently than what you were taught to. So straights, just be creative. Just be creative.
Yes. I love that. And on that note too, you have a workshop. I don't know if you're going to bring it back anytime soon.
What we can learn from like queer pleasure, queer sex.
Yeah. Yes.
Reimagining, yes, it's called reimagining intimacy. What we can learn about from queer sex or queer pleasure, something like that.
Yeah. Yes. Love that workshop. I hope you hold it again
Thank you.
because give the people what they need and want. So true. It's so true. We can learn so much from queer pleasure and queer joy. All right. Thank you so much, Dakota, for being here. And thank you for our listeners for tuning in. As always, thank you for coming. And please come again, and come again.
I like that. Thank you.
Let's be clear. Access to you is a privilege, not a default setting. Intentional intimacy means leading with clarity, not crumbs. It means knowing the difference between chemistry and compatibility, between being wanted and being respected. So, if someone can't hold your no, they don't deserve your yes. As Dakota said so perfectly, part of being healthy is don't be a dick. Let that one sink in. Stay bold, stay boundaried, and don't ever shrink your truth just to keep someone close. You are not too much. You are the damn standard. Big love and big thanks to Dakota Ramppen for showing up with fire, depth, and the reminder that healthy can still be hot. If this episode gave you life, share it, rate it, review it, and make sure you're subscribed. Your next favorite conversation is right around the corner. Thanks for listening to Come Talk with Aimee. I'll see you babes next time.